Am I the a-hole for not letting my family anywhere near my family? This whole thing technically started years ago, but I feel that context is needed. About 10 years ago, when I, 36 male now, married my wife, 35 female, we wanted to start our family right away, but life didn't really pan out. It was actually a mix between both my partner and I having fertility issues. My family tried to convince me to break up with my wife because, and I quote, "She can't carry our family name." Even though I told them it was also in part of my personal fertility issue, but they just blamed my wife. To add context to that, I'm the only male born in my generation, so I was the only one that got married and passed my family name down. And my family is very traditionalist, to say the least. I'd cut them out of my life due to this. On to the situation now. After a lot of heartaches and going through different approaches including IVF and every other treatment that were available to us, we are now parents to 2 beautiful baby boys. A set of twins. Wasn't expecting that, but a welcome surprise to say the least. We also have an adopted daughter who is now 13, but my family didn't want anything to do with her, and such. Another reason why we went full no contact. Somehow my family caught wind of this, and they now want to be part of mine and my children's lives. But I won't let them. And my dad claims they have rights as the grandparents, and that is not okay for me to not let them see the babies. To see the next generation of our family, even though they have other grandkids from my sisters. I told him outright that the kids don't even have a surname. They have my wife's surname. Yes, this was done purely out of spite. And that even I changed my name and we took on my wife's name after everything that went down 10 years ago. As you can imagine, things blew up. I'm being called a monster, loser, petty, weirdo, traitor, a-hole, every name in the book really. I'm blocking every numbered user on social media as they come in, but my family's going hard at it. My wife is standing by my choice, as they had said some awful things to her to try to get her to willingly leave me. But I just want to know, from you unbiased people here, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Do what's best for your kids, Opie. You know your family better than us. And from what you wrote, I really wouldn't want them in my life either. Thank you for your reply. After the things they said, I don't want my family to have access to my children. Had to remove a lot due to character limits. But one thing that especially irked me when I first adopted my daughter was my mom said, to my daughter's face, "Hello, not real granddaughter." Sure, she didn't understand my mom at the time as she only knew her native language, Mandarin. We adopted her from my wife's cousin. But like, who says that to a 2-year-old kid? Shaking my damn head. Damn, Opie, that's really messed up. Go on living your best life and don't care about your family, and give your real family the best life. Not stay home. They are demonstrating to you exactly why they should not be part of your family. They don't earn a place in your family again by disparaging you and behaving poorly. If you let them back in, they would make it very, very clear to your children that only the twin boys are actually part of the family, and that your daughter is not. You are doing the right thing protecting your family from your family. That's one of my fears if I do accept my family. Won't, but it's still a fear. That they would treat my kids differently. No way am I about to subject my daughter to that nonsense. Not stay home. You are better off without these horrible people. Also, congratulations for being a good husband and father. It's great you had your wife's back all the time, and you didn't bend to your family's ridiculous demands. Thank you. After a straight month plus of dealing with us, it's reassuring to hear that. Next story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for announcing my pregnancy in front of my infertile friend? She recently found out." I, 25 female, found out I was pregnant about 3 weeks ago. We decided to wait until we told. Our friends are like our family, and we share everything with each other right when they happen, so this was not typical behavior. 2 friends in the group are Sandra, 28 female, and her husband, Sam. Sandra can't biologically have children, and they found out about it a month ago, hence why I waited to announce the pregnancy. Both of them were sad about it. Sam and I grew up together, so I know how much she wanted kids. Both my husband and I knew we had to tell our friends. I already had started to show symptoms, and I don't want them to feel like I kept this from them, as we are very close. All of us have been friends since forever. Most of us have not so great family too, so we're each other's chosen family, and we wanted to share this happy moment with them. So we called everyone over to our house. Everyone already knew something great happened because I always make cookies when I have good news. I told them yes, something great has happened, that I was pregnant. I told them that I found out a month ago as a response to someone who asked. Then Kelsey, another friend, told me she was hurt we didn't tell them immediately like she did when she was pregnant. Everyone was happy for us, or so I thought, and I felt so much relief after telling them. Sam gave me a hug, and I could see he was happy but sad, and I told him that I actually wanted him to be the godfather of our baby. He just kept hugging me, and I started crying, out of happiness. I didn't notice until Kelsey's husband pointed out, but Sandra was no longer sitting on a couch. So I went to the kitchen to check on her and she was crying. I told her I'm sorry if this was difficult considering her news, and asked her if she needed anything at all. She didn't say anything and just went to the living room. I followed her and she just turned around and said, "You're a witch." I was shocked, and I guess said, "What?" and left. She said I was so insensitive and that I purposefully got pregnant. She was sobbing and I just didn't know what to do. My friends comforted her while Sam and my husband checked on me. Later it was just Sandra, Sam, my husband, and me. Because my husband said whatever this was, we had to talk about it since we were family. Sandra said it was a jerk move to announce my pregnancy just 3 weeks after she found out she couldn't have kids, that there was nothing to talk about. She left and Sam stayed back to apologize. This happened a week ago, and no one has heard from Sandra. I can't sleep and I feel so guilty. Everyone insists I'm not the a-hole, but they might be biased because who tells pregnant women they're an a-hole, right? So I'm hoping you guys will tell me the truth, because if I'm in the wrong, I need to apologize. Edited to add, both Sandra and Sam agreed to be godparents way before I was pregnant. This was finalized before, not at a party. You're the a-hole. The thoughtful thing to do would have been to speak with the two of them privately ahead of time, instead of surprising them in a group setting, especially since you were well aware they were so upset about their diagnosis. This. Congratulations on your pregnancy, but you should really have told Sandra beforehand. I don't know. I understand the sentiment here, but doing that would have had the same effect on the other friends, since they were all so close. It was really a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I think Opie did the best she could by waiting to say anything at all. You're the a-hole. Just to make sure, you knew Sandra couldn't have kids? And you still decided to announce pregnancy in front of a group of friends that included her. Yeah, insensitive as hell. You should have told her in private beforehand. Tell her that you're announcing at X date and you'd understand if she didn't want to join. Yes, that's why we waited a month before telling them. Thank you for all the valid points. I get what I did wrong now. A month to get over their lost hopes and dreams? Look, you were excited, but you were mindlessly unkind here. Telling them privately would have afforded them the opportunity to process their difficult feelings so they could support and celebrate you as a group. You chose to catch them unaware, and I'm sorry, but I don't buy your ignorance that being surprised with a crowd was going to be hard for them. You're either shockingly ignorant or pretty callous. A big apology is necessary. I agree. I should have told them privately. Hence why I will apologize. Thanks for helping. Update. Sandra's texting me back. I'll call her soon too. I apologized and we're talking it out, and things are going better than I hoped. I know the final judgment hasn't been decided, but to be honest, I am the a-hole. I should have waited, and I know that now. I was in the wrong. Thanks for the help. I'm glad about how things turned out. You lot helped me write my apology too. Last update. Things are okay, and we're okay. I apologized, she understood. Thanks for all the help. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to make my husband's sister-in-law baby clothes and blankets? My husband's older brother is married to Bree. Bree and I got along really well when we first met and grew close. I'm an only child, and it was nice having someone who tried to have a sisterly relationship with me. In 2018, I was pregnant with my daughter Grace, and life was good. Then I suffered a placental abruption and took the life of my baby girl and left me with fertility issues as well as a risk if I do get pregnant again. The loss of my daughter broke me, and I'm still in a state of disbelief. I always wanted to be a mom, and I feel like that was taken from me. I never got to hold my baby girl while she was alive. I never got to hear her cry, see her eyes or anything. And even though we have tried for another baby, we were aware it could cause health issues for me. I am still willing to try, but it's hard, and my husband doesn't know what's best. Before I lost Grace, I used to make baby clothes and blankets as a side business. It did really well, because a lot of local people liked that I could personalize however they wanted. After Grace, I don't do it anymore. I can't. Now my husband's sister-in-law is almost ready to pop with her and my brother-in-law's first child, and she asked me if I would make her and the baby some clothes and blankets. I told her I wasn't doing that anymore, but we had bought stuff. She asked me to do it for her and my niece, and I told her as much as I love her, I can't. She told me she understood, but then a few days later told me she thinks I should still do it out of love for her, in a way to show I'm healing and working on living my life again instead of letting our loss change it. I told her my life will always be different. I will always carry Grace's loss with me, and making her clothes is not a step I'm ready to take. She and my brother-in-law are upset with me, as they feel like I'm trying to bring them down by not making clothes like I did for other people before. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You have every right to grieve however you want, and you also have the right to create whatever boundaries you want. That's really selfish of sister-in-law to push you into doing something you're not ready to do. Stick with your I'm unable to do that. I'm very sorry for your loss. Opie also has the right to grieve at her own speed. Bree doesn't get to decide Opie should show I am healing and working on living my life again at this point. Keep telling her no, Opie. Or block her for a while so you don't have to deal with her noise. People can be incredibly cruel about grieving. 2 weeks after my father died, my aunt was already telling me to get over it, that I needed to go back to normal. I was 16 and had just become an orphan. 100% not the a-hole. I'm really sorry, Opie. They are the a-holes, not you. I suffer from infertility, and those who don't struggle with any type or any loss will never understand. Screw them for trying to force you to move on. Grieve at your own pace. Forcing it will only make matters worse. All you can do is stand your ground and tell them that you hope they never have to experience such a devastating loss. Also, if you need a support group, r/infertility sucks is fantastic. If you aren't already a member, go post this in it. We're extremely supportive. They are the a-holes so bad. I will never fully understand, but I can say that intellectually, Opie's stance is not hard to understand. It hurts her heart to make baby clothes. That is all I would need to hear. End of story. The sister-in-law's failed to try to manipulate Opie after her feelings were made clear. Trying to say it is for Opie's benefit to do it as a process of healing? Get out of here with that crap. Grief in general is a very personal thing. It's not a linear thing and it is unpredictable. But what it is to each of us is different. They don't need to understand a grief. They just need to be aware of it. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to stop overreacting about me picking up my son early from school? My son recently started 5th grade a few weeks ago. He's an excellent student, always on top of his homework and one of the brightest kids in his class. He made friends with a classmate before COVID lockdown, and they stayed close. Unfortunately, his friend passed away in April. He's seen a therapist since and has been doing better. However, on Tuesday, my son called me during lunchtime crying. He asked me if he could be picked up early because he didn't feel right. My son's never done this before. For one thing, he's a terrible liar, and I haven't heard him this upset since he first found out what happened to his friend. He talked me through what was going on. Some kids were talking about his friend, not in a bad way, and he got very emotional/overwhelmed. It made him very sad because they would have the same class together this year. There was about 3 hours left in the school day, so I picked him up. Was able to get whatever homework from his teacher. He was still upset when I picked him up, then cried some more in the car. Luckily, his therapist was available for an impromptu video session when we made it home. My wife got home from work, and I'd already texted her earlier about what happened. We got into an argument because it was irresponsible to take him out of school for that reason, and I'm affecting his education. After telling her why, she still believes he should have stuck it out the rest of the day, and not use his friend's death as an excuse to miss out on class. He's been going to school every day for weeks without problems, but that day in particular was a bad day. I'd understand my wife if it was a regular occurrence, but it's the first time he's ever been asked to be picked up. Frankly, to me, I just don't see how missing less than half a day once would affect him the way my wife is saying it will. She brought it up again today, and I got fed up. It was already days ago, and so I told her to stop overreacting about this already. Reason she thinks I'm an a-hole is because I'm dismissing her concerns about him missing out that day and acting like they aren't a big deal. Which honestly doesn't seem like they are. His homework was done and he still understands the material. It's hard to see why this is something she's still hung up on. Especially since we've already agreed to make sure this doesn't become a regular thing. She's still mad and still giving me the silent treatment. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You're legitimizing your son's emotions. You're showing him it's okay to take a mental health break. You're also reinforcing the fact that he knows he can rely and depend on you. Half a day of the 5th grade is not going to make up for all the positive behaviors you're imparting. Also, you should look up articles on emotional mistreatment. Everyone thinks the silent treatment is a pretty normal thing, but it's actually a form of emotional abuse. The silent treatment is such childish bullcrap. It's honestly hard to comprehend actual adults doing it. Basically, it's the adult version of throwing a tantrum at the store because you didn't get the treats you wanted. I do have to say, sometimes I've been so angry that I need some time to distress or cool down before talking to specific people after an argument or whatever. But generally, I try to let them know we need some time before we can have a productive discussion. Not today, home. Teacher here. Please explain the following to your wife. 1. Education works on a spiral. Skills are revisited over and over to cement them, so missing one afternoon will be inconsequential. 2. For any learning to take place, a person has to be in the right frame of mind. If they are not feeling safe and happy, then instead of, say, learning long multiplication techniques, they will be learning to avoid a situation where they are feeling distressed. So even if he had stayed in school, he would have learned nothing of the curriculum. 3. Some things are more important than school. Knowing that he has a father who has his back, who understands him and can help him and protect him. That will help him grow and be able to take risks and become a man. Your wife is being very short-sighted here. Had you forced him to stay in school distressed, he would learn that his parents don't care about his welfare. Kids who know that often rebel when they're older and drop out of school as an act of defiance. I appreciate this insight very much, thank you. Hope maybe she could see that missing one day wouldn't negatively affect his schoolwork while he was dealing with us. Not today, home. You 100% did the right thing as a concerned parent. What a terrible thing to go through as a young child. Have experienced many personal losses, but certainly not at his age. I know it's a major struggle for him to come to terms with.